I want to go back to the beginning for you, Ike, because, again, you're a guy we were just talking off air from the state of Florida. You're from Windermere, Florida. You end up at South Gunnigan, get there in 2003. Lou Holtz is obviously right in the middle of his coaching career in Columbia. Just talk about what led you to South Gunnigan. How'd you end up in Columbia?
So my father and mother, my mom and dad were born in South Bend, Indiana. So they spent their time in South Bend. Big Lou Holtz fans, big Notre Dame fans. I'd say it was probably, my dad was probably 23, 24 years old and went to a little team get together or a fundraising event there in South Bend and got to meet Lou. And Lou actually had him sit with Skip at the table. Actually, I think it was Skip and Urban were at the table because Urban was a receiver coach then and Skip may have been quarterback coach. I don't know if Skip was yet into coaching, but so my dad kind of formed a connection with Skip and, always was a Notre Dame fan. And then when they went to South Carolina, stayed South Carolina fans and, had the opportunity to go walk on there. So it was, I went and did some visits to some Ivy League schools. I was a option quarterback out of high school. And they gave me a chance to go up there and then kind of things fell in place once I got up to Columbia.
Yeah, I was going to say, again, you get on campus fall 2003, and like we were just talking again off air, you snapped all 4 years. You were holding, obviously. I mean, just talk about getting on campus and I guess taking the starting job. Because, again, I've never had a long snapper on the show.
Yeah.
Like, what is that competition like? Because I know it's like there's a lot of different guys that can do that, and then you have your specific specialists that handle that. And, I mean, it's – people need to understand it's a very important position. It's not like it's just, we'll just throw anybody back there. They'll snap the ball. This is, nobody, you guys are a lot like offensive linemen in the sense that nobody probably even knows the long snapper's name until they mess up. I mean, I don't know if this is a random game, but Billy Napier was one of the names floating around for the coaching job at South Carolina, and his Louisiana team played App State. And I don't know if you saw that game, but his long snapper, I think, snapped 3 of them over the guy's head. And it's like, everybody knew who that guy was for all the wrong reasons after that night.
Oh, yeah.
So, just talk about that.
So I get into Columbia. I showed up August 1st for camp. They had me come into camp. I was playing some, probably 5th string quarterback. We had 7 quarterbacks then. You had Dondreau was there. You had Blake that came in that class. Savell came in that class. Mike Rath was there on the team. So I came in, it was one night before our first game. We were playing, or 2 nights. It was a Thursday night. We were playing Louisiana Lafayette at home. And Holtz asked if anybody could be a backup deep snapper. We were light on having a snapper. Scott Morgan was there. He had gone through spring ball. And so I told him, I said, hey, you know what, I can snap. And they were all kind of like, no, you're too small. I mean, I was 185 pounds, 6'1". I'm not your traditional snapper. So I snapped for him after practice, and sure enough, Holtz told me as I was walking off the field, he's like, hey, you're going to start on Saturday. Now, keep in mind, last game I played, a high school game, small school here in Orlando. I was shocked that I was going to be playing in front of all these people. So, one thing led to another, and there I was, that Saturday night against Louisiana Lafayette at home snapping. And like you said, no one knows who you are until you screw up. So it's just kind of one of those things that you have to just, hey, get it back to his hip. And we started doing that. We started doing that spread punt. So when I started there, we started spreading the gaps real far. Remember with Josh Brown?
Was it the rugby? Yeah.
It was a rugby kick. So Holtz kind of started. Holtz did start that, and he started it so that I could cover down the middle of the field, and we could send 2 gunners down the outside of the field. And then you started to see some other teams around the SEC and around the country do the same, because it kind of made sense if you had a snapper that could cover down the middle. So that's kind of how it played out to get on the field.
So that was, so I'm curious, by the way, because you talk about the rugby kick. So that's done more so the snapper can get down the field, not because I think a lot of fans assume it's because like the punter doesn't have a great leg and you're just trying to get 40 yards of roll out of the ball.
Yeah, no. So I think if you didn't have a guy covering down the middle of the field and you had the guys blocking on a punt and just had 2 gunners on the outside and you tried to kick the rugby kick, if you're the returner, I think you fly up and try to just pick it off a bounce, and you can get to the ball within 20 yards from the punter.
Right.
I think the benefit was you had to protect the snapper. I still think you do in college football. They had to give me either 5 yards or give me a 1 full second. Right. So every time I'd walk up to the line, I'd tell the referee right there, hey, the guy's hitting me early, which really he wasn't, but he would walk up, whisper in the guy's ear, hey, stay off the snapper. So then I knew I just had to make one move, and I could cover down the middle of the field, and I could stay with the ball as it was rolling.
Right.
And you were never going to have the return to grab it.